So now we're going to look at paragraph formatting. So where you can do that in the ribbon is right here from the home page. So when you go through these different ribbons here, this is the one to go to, and you'll see paragraph here. So let's make our way from left to right. And the first thing we're going to actually start with is bullets. So if I scroll down to the document, you'll see that I have some points already here. So let's assume that that's not here. Let's say, actually let's look at this one. This is a list of different things. So if I select here, I can go and make bullets to illustrate that there are 3 different points. And that's why they're called bullet points. If I didn't want to make them these circles, you have options here when you click the little box here to make it different points or different styles so that each has a different look. For me, I'm going to stick with the blue circles. Now let's say maybe the circles don't work for me, maybe I need numbers. So that's where this one comes in handy. Instead of having bullet points, you can do numbering or even A, B, or C. So there you go, 1, 2, or 3. Your next option here is where you can actually create multi-level numbering. And that lets you, that's something you might want to learn a little bit later on down this stage. So we're going to pass on that one for now. Now a thing called an indent. An indent is a little bit of space outside of this paragraph. So I'm going to show you a little bit about indents. So these two each represent decreasing and increasing an indent. Now when I increase an indent, the whole paragraph moves over this way. If I increase the indent again, it moves over this way. And I can do so by clicking back as well. We're going to learn a little bit about that a little bit later as well. Next part is this feature here, and what's it called is it's called show and hide. Where you see these little P's here, that indicates that the enter button was pressed. Where you see these dots, those are spaces in between words. And this helps with your editing to see if the document's up to date. So these 3 P's here tell me that there's 3 spaces, and maybe there should only be 1 space between that. And that's what I'm wanting to check here. Once I've done reviewing that, I can click back that P again and it disappears. Our next part is the alignment. So there's these different icons here, and I'm going to show you what that means now. So we're going to say intro. We're going to call this part introduction, because that's what this part of the essay really is. It's an introduction. Now if I select that word, you'll see that it's already highlighted, and when it's already highlighted, that's saying what part of the alignment it is already. So this is already aligned to the left. If we align it to the center, watch what happens. So it puts the word into the middle. Same here if we align to the right. So there's all these different alignments here. Now line and paragraph spacing. We're not going to show you how to do that here. What I'm going to show you is more details a little bit later after this video. This one, shading. So this is the color that comes behind the whole area. So maybe I want to match it with that blue. And I might want to center align that and remove the italics. And so that's what this shading is for. Last but not least, I might want to add in a border into that introduction so that it looks like it's in a box. Now, let's have a look at paragraph in a little bit more detail. So if I click here, you see this little box here? It brings up the full settings. Now I'm going to select all the text first, so that everything that I do has an effect on it, or only the areas that I've selected. Now if you look at this whole document, you can't really tell where a new paragraph or where a new point starts. So to make it a bit cleaner, what we're going to look at is the indents in there. So indentation is what you want to look at. And then if I go special, what I can do is I can set first line of every paragraph to be indented. Now this is a new paragraph, that's a new paragraph, that's a new paragraph, that's a new paragraph, and that's a new paragraph. You can't really see it so clearly, so watch what happens when we put an indent in there. So notice how the new paragraphs come out more clearly. Now this doesn't look like it should be part of a paragraph, so I'm going to move it like that so it comes across more clearly. So the first line of every paragraph has now been indented. Now let's have a look back at these options again. So back into the home, indentation. So now we're going to look at line spacing. So line spacing is the space in between these lines. So what we'll do is we'll just look at one paragraph only and go to this area. So it's the amount of space in between this line and that line, this line and that line. Now it's currently set to multiple, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it double to make it wider. So notice how between every line the spacing is much wider than this area here. Now line spacing is pretty important in terms of making it easier for people to read. So if you have a long document, you might want the line spacing to be a little bit bigger so that it's not too hard to read. For this one, I might just make the line spacing for all to be 1.5. That's usually a good way to go. So there you go. Much easier to read. And that's the paragraph formatting for you.